Welcome to the HD2010 Marathon again. This is the final video. This is of the second light. It's going to use the copper pill, solid copper. It will have an XML2 on a copper star. The XML2 is not going to be de-domed because my success rate is 0% on de-doming, but I'm going to shave the dome on it, and it will use one of the 7135 style drivers, linear drivers, with a total of let's see, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14 ships on it, so it'll be over 5 amps. I'm not going to show everything because the other videos already show the same things. What I'm going to really show is how I put the chips on the driver, and then assemble everything up and see what we get for it. Okay, these chips that I have, the 7135 chips that I have, the extra ones that I'm going to add onto the driver, I want to bend the pins down on them so it's easier to solder them to the ones below. And the way I do it is I take a pair of needle nose and I get the chip set in the needle nose. Hope you can see this. Kind of like that. And then I take my thumbnail and bend down the tabs a little bit. The reason I do that is I just don't want it to break off, so I try to bend them fairly easy. And then I take and I put them against the edge of this table right here and get them bent down the rest of the way. So when they're done, they're bent over at a 90, okay? And I'm going to do that with all 6 of these chips. Okay, I got the chips bent, I got the soldering iron heated up, and I'm going to use these to hold the chips on. These are, I'll give you the name, the brand name is WECK, W-E-C-K. The part number is 500311, and these should be called ALLIS tissue forceps, I believe. I'm pretty sure, but if you use the part number, the name WECK, and the part number 500311, then you'll get an idea what they're called. Then you can look on eBay and find some of the off-brands. Because these, of course my wife was an RN, so you know where these came from. Anyways, the reason I use them is because when they're closed up, they have a gap in them, and that works good for this board, and they have little teeth on them, so they grab pretty good and they don't seem to hurt anything. So I'm going to add chips onto this driver, and it's a pain in the ass. It really is. I mean, I don't have small hands, and I got old hands, and they don't work like they're supposed to. So what I do is I try to get a chip on there, okay, and try to get it lined up with the chip below it. And then I'll try to take this here and get onto it and clamp it down. See, the clamp will stay in place. Okay, so now I've got it clamped down, and then I'm going to go take it over the device and I'm going to solder the two together. Okay, I've got it in the vise. I've just clamped the forceps in the vise, and I don't know that you're going to be able to see much because I really can't do macro shots with this old camera on video, so I'll do the best I can with it. But what I do is I take and I'm going to flux this whole area. Okay, use quite a bit of flux. I want that solder to flow when it gets hot, and I want it to do real quick, so that's why I use the flux on it. Then I'm going to make sure that my soldering iron is clean, and so I'll wipe it off here, get it cleaned up, and I'm going to try to get a tiny dab of solder on the soldering iron, just a little bit, okay, just a little bit of solder, and then I'm going to shakily, I'm going to shake and shudder and everything else, and try to lay that down in here. And I have to take my glasses off so I can see anything at all. And I'm going to try to lay this down in there, okay, and I'm going to hold that soldering iron in there, and if I do it right, okay, it should, and I think it did. Yeah, it did. When I heat that area, the flux will just draw the solder right into both pins. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that a second time here. Try the second pin and see if I can do it again. Okay, there's a second pin, and we'll do it one more time with a third pin, just a little tiny dab of solder, and I'm trying to hold with both hands. Okay. Alright, so that chip is now connected to the chip below it on all three legs, okay? And then I'm just going to copy that with 6 chips. On these 2 chips, I'm going to add a third on, alright? So I'll probably show you when I do that, but actually adding a third on is easier than adding this one on. But I'm going to go ahead and put the rest of the base layer of chips on here, and then I'll come back and try to show adding the third one on top. Okay, so actually I'm going to put the third chip on the sides instead of the back, but I got the third chip in there, and I thought maybe, well, that would be probably pretty easier, but pretty easy. Yeah, right. I think it's going to be harder. I can't remember the last time I actually tried to do that much of a stack, and now I hope it clears in that driver too. So I got a little tiny bit of solder in here, and I'm going to see if I can't get that third chip soldered in. I don't know. It doesn't look like it's... Yeah, I think it's touching. I think it's touching. That one doesn't want to go. Yeah, that's pretty interesting right there. I'll have to look at that under a magnifier and see if that's really where it needs to be. It looks like it is, but it's now there's another way, and that would be to take a little piece of wire, like solid wire. Like if I had some 26 gauge solid wire, I could just put the wire in there and run the solder right up the whole length of the wire and be done with it. But I don't have any of that size, and this is how I usually do it. Well, I'll have to look at it in a magnifier and see if it's okay. Well, from what I can see, that looks like it's going to work. It looks like all of the chips are touching, and it should work. Now the next thing is, will it fit down inside of here? Then I gotta take some measurements for that, and if it doesn't, I'm gonna have to do a little milling in here, which a lot of guys can't do, but I'm gonna use a drill press and mill it in there because I'm gonna have to. But I don't want the extra chips on the spring side. It's bad enough that I already have chips there. I don't want any extra ones sticking up, or I'm going to have a problem with the battery fit. So let me go ahead and check that out, and we'll go from there. Okay, so the driver is wired up, and I use the same color wires on both positive and negative. I'm using 18 gauge and I'm going to regret it. I know I'm going to regret it. I know I am, because it's going to be a problem with the reflector, but I really want to be able to pull the amps all the way up to the LED. I decided to go ahead and switch to a 20mm star, since it will fit in this copper pill. I've gone ahead and got the XML2 in there. I've already got the back side cleaned off and the solder filled in the depression. This I cleaned up with steel wool. The bad thing about these copper pills is it's a little bit rough in here. It needs to be smoothed out. I'm not going to smooth it out. Well, I am going to smooth it out a little bit, but the problem with smoothing it out by hand is that it's not going to be level, you know. So I'm going to work on it a little bit, but not very much, and just trust on Arctic Aluminum to make the difference. You know, it's the way it's going to be. So I'm at that point where I can put the pill together, and I've already tested the star to make sure that it works, and we'll keep on with it. Okay, we're going to wrap this one up rather fast. I mean, like I say, in the other videos, it shows most everything else. The pill is all together. The wires soldered for the star. I had to end up going to 22 gauge. 18 gauge would not clear that reflector. I replaced the spring on the driver, and I turned the spring upside down, so because you have limited space to fit on that driver, you can't fit the wide end down, so I fit the narrow end down, the wide end top. It has the copper braid. I'm going to toss this into that light, and I'm going to use the modified tail cap from the other lights, so that everything has the resistance mods done in it, and we'll see what kind of results we get out of this. Okay, well, the third light I tested out, and I'm sort of surprised, but then again I'm not. You know, I mean, it's an XML2. The driver should be pushing over 5 amps. Well, the readout comes to 3.75 amps. Well, I go and I check my batteries, and these are the good 26650s that should be able to put out, you know, mucho amps. But freshly charged are reading 4.01 volts, not like 4.2, 4.01. Well, okay, that's all the amps I'm going to get out of 4 volts. Is about 3.75, 3.8 amps. So that's it. You know, that's about all I'm going to get out of it. The interesting thing was, though, when I checked lux at 1 meter, this one did 61.5. Okay, so I'm really surprised that there's that much difference in lux. And I checked the other ones again. I mean, lux comes out the same on all of them, or within a few lux. So, anyways, that's it for the mods for the HD2010. You know, you got your choice of just modding the stock one, or modding, taking the stock light and just, you know, redoing the wires and doing the resistance mods on it, or going, you know, full-fledged with a copper pill, or going halfway in between, you know, with an XML2 and a copper star. It's all what you want to do, but there's enough in the videos hopefully to show you and lead you through it. So anyways, it's been fun. Thanks for watching.